Good evening, and welcome to the October meeting of the Tupelo Planning Committee. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones. At this time, please rise for the invocation, which will be given by Patty Thompson, and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Scott Davis.
Would you bow, please? Father God, we come before you today with our open hearts and minds, reminding us that we are your servants and servants for the city of Tupelo. We ask that you lead, guide, and direct us in our endeavors tonight, and thank you so much for your blessings upon this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
Face the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you, Patty and Scott. The Tupelo Planning Commission is a volunteer group appointed by the mayor and approved by the city council. We receive no compensation for this, and we do it as a community service. This committee spends a lot of time and our own funds studying and researching the applications and visiting the sites that are on our agenda each month. We ask that you remember that we do not take our positions on any application lightly. Our decisions are based on facts as they are presented and with regard to the regulations set forth in the city code. The Planning Commission may impose conditions on approval of a request as it deems necessary to mitigate potential hazards or problems, or to bring the nonconformity into compliance to the extent necessary to protect the rights and interests of nearby property owners and the general public. At this time, I would like to ask the staff and commission members to introduce themselves.
Pat Faulkner, City Planner.
Margaret Ann Kennedy.
Gus Hildenbrand.
Patty Thompson.
Ted Mull. Scott Davis.
Thank you. We'll review the last meeting's minutes. Are you all had a chance to look it over?
We do need to make a change. Mr. Goodwin wasn't in that meeting.
All right. Mr. Jim Goodman was not present. Any other changes or additions?
I'll make a motion that we accept them with the correction.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Patty Thompson and seconded by Margaret Ann Kennedy that we accept the minutes as with the change. All in favor, raise your right hand. Approved. Or opposed, same sign, approved. Mr. Faulkner, do you have anything to report on the City Council's action from our last meeting?
Those actions were a set of development code amendments that they will be on the City Council agenda tomorrow night.
Okay. So we're now ready for the new business portion of the meeting. There are 4 items on the agenda, and if you don't have an agenda, I think there's some in the back for the guests that are here. As we work through these items, if you're here to order to comment on an application, please, when you're asked, move to the podium, speak into the microphone, and state your name and address before offering comment. Okay, the first one is, it's VAR 16-04, which is Austin Knight has asked to build a camper cover that would be a variance on what's allowed by the code. Mr. Faulkner, have the property owners in the area been notified?
They have.
Were there any responses?
I did not hear any.
Is Mr. Austin here?
Yes, sir.
Would you come to the podium and state your name and address and present your application to the committee, please?
My name's Austin Knight, and I live at 407 Blackwell Street.
And I am James E. Knight. I live at 413 Blackwell Street, next door.
Then I also have some signatures from my surrounding neighbors stating that they do not mind me building this cover. Didn't know if y'all would need that or not.
We want that for the record.
Yeah, I guess we would. We'll put it with the record on that, sir.
All of the previous buildings that were that are on the property, they were there when I bought the house. And the little storage building that's in between the fencing, I have tore it down to allow a little bit more square footage. I know I'll still exceed what I'm allowed, but I have tore that one building down. And all I'd like to do is put up just be a cover, it's a metal roof type structure. It's 100% movable. It's not a permanent structure. And it's just to be able to cover the roof of my camper. Just to protect it from the elements and all that stuff.
Excuse me. Do you have any questions? The committee have any questions for Mr. Knight?
Sir, I have a question if you don't mind.
All right.
I've lived at 413 since the late 90s with my son, and eventually we bought the property next door, which included 40, what's your address, 407? Okay. When we first moved there, the lot in between us had an actual address. It was some property that belonged to Mr. Tim Miller from Miller's Lock Service Company. And eventually that property was sold to Tommy Doty, and we eventually bought all the property from a gentleman, Billy Curl, that had purchased that property from Doty. Now, along the way, of course, Doty bought Tim's property, and I was just curious, does that still not have an address?
That would be a question for him.
E911 only addresses structures, since there's no longer structure on
No
that
longer
property.
structure there.
Right.
So even though it's a separate separate plot, rather, it's not a separate address.
Well, the addressing and whether it's shown as a parcel are two different things. E911 does addresses, and the mapping office of the tax assessor does property parcels.
So when Tim's house burned, it cleared out the address.
Right.
I
The
guess
house
it
did
did.
burn, several years ago.
Right.
And I was just curious about that. I was thinking that maybe the property still had a separate address, but I can see now why it would not have.
Yeah.
Well, it would have if another house was built there.
Yes, sir, I understand, but it's just got the concrete slab is still there, and that's it.
Okay.
And that slab is what the camper is parked on currently.
Oh,
Yeah, I rode out there today and looked. Right before I came here, you may have seen me in your driveway. I was kind of
Oh,
had
yes,
to
ma'am. I was
look.
wondering who that was.
It would be me.
I went out there yesterday.
Oh, did you? Well, anyway, so I was trying to look, and I am so not trying to hurt your feelings. If you knew me better, I'm all about, wanting everything to look nice and be good neighbors, because what that does is not just about being good neighbors, but about protecting and solidifying everyone's property values, So you just want to, it just needs to be as attractive as possible. So when I drove onto Blackwell, fairly shortly after I got onto your street, I could see that camper all the way down at the end, just looming. And we really have these setbacks and things kind of for this reason. Not that it's an unattractive camper. In fact, it's a fabulous looking camper. It's very attractive to me. It was very attractive. But it is sitting close, and then because of the way the road goes, you can just see it for the entire length of the road. And I just, I don't know if it's not, is there anywhere else on your property that you could locate it? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask. And, that nice garage type building with 2 doors. It's an attractive building too. Could it be on the front side even though it would show from the road, which is not the best? Really, when you have something like that, you really probably should put it in the back of your property so that you see it, but your neighbors don't. But even if you could put it on the front, and the people, because you're at the end of the road, then everybody doesn't have to see it. Everybody sees it now, I'm sure, because I could see it. It would be neatly against your building, just kind of in a neater way. Does that make any sense to you, what I'm trying to say? Or even the back of the big yellow pretty building. I looked and I thought, well, that would be a spot that it could be, behind the building, just beside of the building. And then I don't know about the far side, which would be the west side would it be the west? The west? Because there is a fence back there, but the fence doesn't go all the way back to your property line. So it could be maybe moved a little bit, that fence, and put it on that back side, which would be really nice, because then only you would see it. Well, I guess your next door neighbor might see it. So I'm just offering these as, options. It's not that we want to say no by any means, but just, can we be considerate and have it? Like the old win-win that I like to.
Where it sits now, I could bring it farther back in the yard and would be able to put it there, but in front of my shop, and it's like an acre of land behind it. It's almost in a low zone. It stays flooded.
Oh, it does. I
Yes,
knew you
ma'am.
had said that, and so I was trying to look at it. That's really why I wrote out there a second time. After I knew that y'all had felt that it was low, I thought, well, I need to see if it's low, and I just couldn't. It didn't appear to be low, but of course it hadn't rained a while, and I didn't walk out there, so.
That's why that very back lot, since you rode out today, that's why it's a lot taller than the rest of my yard,
Yes.
grass-wise, because I just get stuck every time I go out there.
Okay, well, that makes perfect sense.
Besides, I need to mow it now, though, while it's been dry.
Isn't that the truth?
But-
So even on the front side, which would be your east side of your big building, is that low also?
Yes, ma'am. We could possibly put it there, but
If it had a pad, would it help any, if you had a?
if we
we'd
had
have
a
to put a
pad out there, it would. But that's a lot of extra money that I don't have at the moment.
Okay.
Were you talking earlier, though, about on the west side of his shop, perhaps?
The shop, I should have called it the
Yeah,
shop.
I'm not sure if there's enough room to put it there, but there's a tank there, there's a rental tank there. that
Okay,
runs
so
with gas.
that I probably couldn't see.
No, ma'am, you couldn't see that from the road.
Oh, in between the shop and the fence?
That's what she's talking about on the west
Just,
side.
actually, any of those 3 sides of the shop, not your entrance. And then I even had like a wild and crazy idea. I should have knocked on the door. You could have answered all these questions for me. But, the doors of the shop are not tall enough, certainly, I think, but is the ceiling tall enough? Is there any way you could get that configured, that nice large building, to put your camper, to store your camper?
You'd have to take the whole front out of the building.
I'm just trying to think of any little thing, and I'm wanting y'all to think with me, because you know your property better than I do. But
The shed that you're planning on building, will it have sides or is it just a top?
It's just the top, and it's the roof of it, they call it a gunmetal gray. It'll kind of match the gray of the camper, and then it'll have black trim work around the top of it that would also match the camper. It's not just a standard tin type building.
But it doesn't have anything to hide the camper from?
Oh, no,
the-
sir, not at the moment. I can go back and add sides down the road, but
Yeah.
all I've got now is just the top.
Excuse me. Of course, the reason for wanting to put it there is it makes it convenient backing in and out, I guess.
Yes, sir. Well,
Back
that
in.
camper, it's so big that I can't
That's the
just
biggest
back it
camper I've ever
in.
seen.
I pull up into our yard and turn it around in the back and come back up and pull it onto that slab.
Okay.
And the way it would be, turning on our road, you may not actually see it from how I'm wanting to have the building done. It will be half on that slab, another half in the yard. And I
So
will
you're not
get-
gonna extend your slab?
No, ma'am. I'm going to put, if we're able to do it, I'll have gravel put in for the other part of it. That way it just won't be sitting in the yard.
Yeah.
But half will be on the concrete pad, the other half will be sitting on gravel.
Okay, would it be possible to use gravel, I hadn't thought of that, again, here we go with thinking, to gravel the east side of your shop building, or either the rear, which would be the north side of your shop building? Is gravel less expensive than pouring a pad? Because to your point, it's expensive for you to pour a pad, is that less expensive? To gravel it and then sit it there?
That camper is so big, it would be hard to back in.
Oh,
And to
gravel.
well, it'd be hard to back in and turn beside that building.
Oh, okay.
How much farther back from where you are now could you back that off of the road? Right now, you're very close to the road.
I could
You're
come
probably
back-
using the slab only for the, I'm trying to think of
The leveling.
the leveling.
Mhm.
But could you move that unit much farther back off the road so as you drive down, you don't see it?
I could move it back, what do you think, 50-something feet?
Not sure. But right there at the area where the camper is where the road makes a slight turn.
Right.
And goes back to where I live.
It could be moved back probably, I'd say at least 40 feet.
That would be off of the slab though, totally, I guess, then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yes, sir, totally off.
But your wheels right now aren't going to be on the slab anyways.
Go back one.
The wheels right now, they're on the slab, but with the build, or how I'd like for it to be done, no, sir, they would be on the gravel.
Right. So the only thing you might have to do is just put a small slab, just the width of your levelers in the front of that thing, you know, so it doesn't bury itself. Let the wheels sit on the concrete or on the gravel in the
Gravel.
back.
Yeah.
Have a much smaller, narrower pad, just to fit the levelers. And move it back 40 to 50 feet. Then
That
you
would
may
be
not
better than
see it
just seeing it, so.
as much from the road as you come down the road.
But that far back, I don't think you'd see it at all.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
When you pull on Blackwell, it goes pretty much straight until it makes that slight curve just past his house and going down to my house.
That's right, which is what makes you be able to see it at the far end from when you turn in.
Yeah, when you pull on Blackwell Street, from what the gentleman was talking about, you wouldn't see the camper at all.
Right, and that would be, you
Well,
know,
not
you
only-
would look at it, but that would be okay with you?
Oh, it's fine with me, this is my son.
Yeah.
I don't mind the camper being there.
Right,
I don't
right.
think
Again, it's an
none of the
attractive
neighbors- none of
campus.
the neighbors would object to it either, but I understand your position.
We're just trying to look for everybody, you know, in future and,
Well, now, if I could just get somebody to clean that drain out there where we
Okay.
don't have so much water.
okay, you're at the right place. If you, that's, yeah,
Well, my house
pursue that.
actually is on the low, when it goes, makes that little slight curve by his house, it goes down a few feet, and I'm in the bottom. And I have water. standing
which is
in the
lay of the
bottom.
land, but, you know, I don't know.
That's a different.
I know
story.
they would love to look at it for you and see if there's anything they could do, they would. It's,
Any other questions or comments from the committee on this?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask Pat if he's in agreement with moving it back and having it. Would the planning department accept that?
Yes, really, there is actually a standard on where recreational vehicles can be placed, and it says that they're supposed to be placed within the setbacks, just like a house is. Now, technically, where you've got it proposed, not where it is sitting in the picture, but where you've got it proposed would be, because the setback is just 30 feet in the zoning. But if you look at the actual orientation of the houses and the line that they established, that would be the line that we would prefer to see it at, is back there kind of even with the front of your house. If you could,
I don't think that would be a major problem, do you? That, So that, I don't think that would be as far back as what we were just talking about. I'd have to go and, we would have to just go and measure and look at it and check it, but I think that slab is probably halfway, but I'm not gonna swear to that, I'd have to go back and look. That the slab is, I don't know the actual size of that slab. Anyway, I think it was part of Tim's driveway back in the day when, before the house burned.
Too bad that's not still there that you could use. Okay, so what you were talking about, Pat, is the actual legal setback.
Yeah.
At least get back to the legal setback, is that what you were saying?
Actually, it'll be further than the legal
Legal.
setback.
Okay.
It'll be back to the line of the house.
It'd be in line
Okay,
with the house.
Okay.
Most of those
Well, yes,
houses are
if
back.
not further, be a good
further.
neighbor and go back as far as you're comfortable going back. Just, again, somebody puts up a fence you don't like, we'll protect you from that too, so.
Yeah.
Well, all that belongs to us, so we ain't gonna be.
Okay. Well, I will say also, just for the record, that street, I've just never been on that street. I guess I've not known anyone who lived on that street. But it's a very lovely street. Every home, because I looked at every home, you're looking at the neighborhood, was well manicured and kept and yards. It was just nice, so,
It's nice, we like it up there.
good, anyway.
Mr. Chairman, would it be better to table this and let him work out the details with the city, and that way they wouldn't have to reapply?
It probably would be, or we could put conditions on it. It might be better to go ahead and just put conditions on it.
Okay. How do we want to say that?
Well, right now,
We haven't got there yet.
we hadn't got
Okay.
to that point yet.
All right.
Is there any more comments from the committee? Mr. Austin, or both Mr. Austins, if you would sit down, and if there's, I'll ask, this is now the time for public portion of this, for this application. Is there anyone here that wants to speak for or against this? Well, so I guess there's not any reason to sit down.
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Come back.
I guess we're ready to take action on it as a committee then.
Okay, Patty asked Mr. Faulkner the question, do you think that it can just be worked out without us going through this, or do you want us to go ahead and,
Just
I think that we're still, the variance does not necessarily have to do with the placement, but with the size. So you're still gonna have to grant a variance one way or the other.
Oh, yeah, but we'd have to grant a variance.
Okay.
But the variance could have the condition that it would be in line, the front of the shed or building he's gonna build would be in line with front of the house.
Front of the house, yeah.
Do I hear a motion?
well,
move-
so, yeah, go ahead.
I move that we approve the variance with the condition that the structure be placed behind the front line of the house.
Everybody?
You mean in line with the other houses, is that what you meant, sir?
With his house, yes,
Okay.
sitting behind that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussions on it at the moment?
No, regardless of where the slab falls at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, it's been moved that we grant the variance with the condition that the new building would be in line with the front of the house or behind the front of the house. Is that correct? Scott? All right, it's been moved by Mr. Davis, second by Margaret Ann. And now, do I hear
All those in favor?
yeah, well, I guess there's no other comments. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you
so
for coming.
should we come back at any other time, or just get everything set and somebody need to come back to approve it, or?
You just bring it to us, to our office upstairs. You'll have a building permit, and we'll just draw a site plan, show where it's located on the property, and that'll be it.
Okay, great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Now, item number 2, and of course, for this action also, the person that will need to come to the microphone to present it, and also anyone that wants to comment on it, but it's Flex 16-04, and this is a application or request for a flexible zoning review from Amy and Chaz Kirby to locate a home business at 1214 Eugene Street. And the property is located in the medium-density residential zoning district. Would you state your name and address?
Amy Kirby, 1214 Eugene Street.
All right, and go ahead and go through your application there.
Okay, we are trying to get a business license for a home-based business. We say it's a business, but we actually do it to raise money for missions. We also have helped with different community auctions for Le Bonheur, for Humane Society. We've donated items for that. And we've even helped with donated items for a silent auction for a person needing help with medical bills. We don't do this for any other reason but mission reasons. We started doing this in January with just candles, and it was to raise money for our past summer mission trips for me and my daughter to go on. And we're already in the process of raising money for our next summer mission trips. So we added the pottery probably March, maybe April, when we started running out of unique vessels to pour the candles in. So we wanted to expand that, and so that's basically what we do and why we do it, and we're just trying to be the light and salt. So I don't know what else to tell you.
That's pretty good.
Does the committee have questions or comments to make about this application?
I'd like to ask what not materials, but do you use any kind of machinery or anything in your business?
We have a kiln that is indoors. It is actually in a outside garage storage shed that it was already on the house, and so we use that. And we also, I think they had a complaint about the noise. The noise was coming from an air compressor. It doesn't stay on all the time, and we only use it on days that we clean the pottery to get it ready and prepared to fire the first time. The air compressor is no louder than a lawnmower. And like I said, it doesn't stay on. It's only on when we're using it.
Thank you.
When you do use it, and you say it's only on when you're blowing off pottery, how long is that on?
A few seconds. Just a few seconds. It doesn't take long to blow off. It's like blowing off your lawnmower after you've, used your lawnmower, or it just on a few seconds. We turn it on and off.
Is that a few seconds per piece that you're going to blow?
Yes.
Or do you just blow them all at one?
Well, I do blow them all at one time, but it's not on continually. I mean, it fills up. If I were to be blowing for a while, which I usually don't because I have to clean all that before I blow it, and I don't have room for all that. So, but it's usually just, a few seconds per piece, and I may do 10 pieces at a time.
Okay. And a few seconds per piece.
Right.
We saw a picture, and for a home business, I understand that there's no advertising or signs out front that talk about what you do or the time you're open or closed. There is a photograph we saw that said we're open today.
And I did not know, yes, I have not put that out anymore. I did not realize that that was not up to code to do that. I put that out 2 Saturdays in a row because I did have someone coming by and I wanted them to make sure they could find me.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason, but that sign has not been out in the yard and it will not be out in the yard again.
And what sort of traffic do you have on a Saturday? Or what's your busiest day
I'm
Saturday?
only by appointment only. I have not had a customer at my house since last Tuesday.
Is that typical? You go for days without
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
there?
Yeah.
And how many would you have at a time?
Customers,
See.
I make appointments and they're only one at a time. But like I said, I haven't had a customer since Tuesday.
So it wouldn't be like there's a big sale going on or a big,
Now, I did Mother's Day weekend, it was
Yeah,
a
something
little
like that.
busy.
Mhm.
But it wasn't all, at one time or anything, it was throughout the day. But,
okay.
no, I make appointments and, I said in my, narrative that I may have 2 or 3 a day, but I've gone for days without having anybody come, and they do not come without me knowing it,
Mhm.
And have an appointment to see me.
So then what, because when I drove by, I just couldn't see really anything. This was last week. Because your stuff's all in the back, which is nice. Because again, we want to be good neighbors. And Eugene Street is also a very attractive street to me. I think it is a very attractive street. So, but then what in the back, what do you have that will, to have to run your business? What is there that would not be there if you weren't having this home business? The kiln and the air compressor? And that's
And
it?
I've got a table or 2 set up in my carport where I sit and paint or,
Yeah.
whatever I
Okay.
need to do.
Okay.
But it's not seen from the street.
Okay, and does it deter from the enjoyment of your neighbors on either side? And I don't know if you have a back neighbor, I'm trying to think. I don't think you would.
There's
That for them
lot-
enjoying their yard, is enjoying the privacy of their yard or whatever, cookouts or
I
whatever
have
they're
a
doing.
large fence in my backyard, so.
Okay, so you're very private with,
Yeah.
they're not looking at your business while they're having a birthday party or something in their backyard.
Not that I know.
And they couldn't.
Not in the backyard, in the side backyard, no. It's got so many shrubs and
Okay.
so
Okay.
a lot of overgrowth.
Well, it's important, All right. Anybody else?
Mr. Faulkner, I forgot to ask you if all the property owners had been notified,
They have.
and did you have any responses?
We did have one individual that called us and came and asked some questions about it.
Is there anyone here?
Oh, well, is there any more comments or questions from the committee? All right, Ms. Kirby, you could be seated, and if there's, or let me ask, is there anyone here that is to make comments for or against this application? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and state your name and address. And hold your comments to 5 minutes if you would, please.
Say it again, please.
Hold your comments to 5 minutes if you would, please.
I don't really have any. I'm the next door neighbor. I live at 1212 Eugene Street, which is just off to the right of that picture.
And your name?
Don Borrell, B-O-R-E-L. And we have an open area between our yards. I planted a hedge of Elaeagnus that's pretty tall. It's taller than I am, but I'm pretty short. And then we have some variety that borders our driveways going down to the street, pretty much. And also some crepe myrtles that are fairly tall. But that space is all open between our properties there. I mean, if I walk on my driveway and I see pretty much everything that goes on within their carport, which is where I think most of the activity is. And I would like to have that privacy of that workspace.
In other words, since your carports meet in your driveways.
Our driveways
Or two,
run beside each other.
side by side, yes.
And
Mhm.
I have a garage, and they have a carport with parking spaces.
And you feel like with their business, this doesn't give you as much privacy as what you're...
On my driveway, no.
Is there any questions that you would like to ask?
Can you show the picture of the house again?
To the white car.
You wanna see the
up to the right.
side.
Oh, excuse me, the white vehicle. I always say car.
I want to ask her if this, is this a shed or is that a shadow?
There's my,
There you go. This is what you're talking
that
about.
looks fairly recent.
Oh.
That's what I was talking
Oh,
about.
I still can't
Yeah.
see the back. That's where,
Yeah,
what I
this
couldn't
is-
see when I drove over there. I couldn't
This
see
is
the
just,
back.
is the area between your driveways, you said?
Yeah, it's pretty open.
Mr. Dorrell, in your opinion, what would be a logical solution to, is there some way to enable the Kirbys to continue to do what they want to do, yet
Maybe close in the carport. I don't know what to do with parking.
has there been a problem with parking?
I'm not home during the day, so I really don't know that.
On Saturdays or in the evening?
Only on rare occasions are the parking on the street, but I don't know that people know to go in their driveway. So I don't know that. But no, not very often. But at the same vein, I don't want it to grow into that. And I don't know if how much growth is going to occur. In the newspaper article, it said that they couldn't believe how fast and how well this was taking off. So I don't know. But I'd rather be in front of it than behind it. And that's my only concern.
So your suggestion was to enclose their carport so
Mhm.
that you wouldn't be able to see into it.
And the, yeah, that's probably about the best. I don't think they could build a fence. There's not enough room there for a fence.
Mr. Faulkner, do you have any suggestions on that? Even if they could put a fence, would it be, that's private property though, it wouldn't, I'm trying
Well-
to think of a fence.
There's evidently a property line right down the middle of that,
I think the
Those.
property line goes on their driveway a little bit.
So the property line you think is right against their driveway or on it?
So this is on your property or an easement?
All that greenery is on my property.
Okay.
And then part of their driveway is a little bit on my property. As that detects right there.
Okay.
Except clear to the front is actually the easement, the 9 foot or so from the street to the property line. So,
Where is the fence?
In the very back.
So not anywhere near where you're doing your work?
No, it's all along my back property.
Oh, okay. So people on either side could actually see your business, see you doing your business?
well, the ones on
He
that are on
could.
the other side probably couldn't because they're.
It looks like a lot of foliage on that side.
Well, and they're also back in the carport, so,
Right.
But it's open on the back side.
So the back side is open as well as the side?
Just
The front.
Just the side? Just the side?
It's a carport.
It's a carport, okay. And your equipment is in the carport? It's in a shed.
One piece of equipment that's in the carport, that's an air machine that I was telling you about.
Uh-huh.
And then the kill is in my storage room.
Which is on the back of the carport? That's what I was trying to see if this was a shadow or if this was,
Now, it's
A
all
shed type.
enclosed on the back.
okay, and it's all
There
enclosed?
is a shed in the back.
Yeah, that's what and it's just kind of attached onto the back end of
But-
that garage?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was built
that's a
that way
shadow right
originally.
there.
No, there's a freestanding
That's a
shed.
shadow?
We need y'all to
See these-
That's
come
what I was-
up,
That's why I was.
so we can,
Shed's
we're
right
recording
there.
this, and she doesn't know what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, that would.
Would
Will
it
you
be,
Go ahead, go ahead.
would it be possible to put the compressor in the shed and just run the hose out,
Sure,
so that would cut the noise down?
yes.
I mean, because if that's the only thing that's making noise, and you're just painting in the garage, that's not,
That's doable.
Where do you actually pour your candles or turn your pottery?
Inside the storage room.
So you're doing all of the physical work is being done inside.
Yes.
Except for the painting,
except for painting.
And cleaning.
painting.
And that's done in the open air carport?
So all the noise, if you move the compressor into the storage shed or whatever, then all of the noise would be inside the building.
Right.
And you wouldn't, everything you do in the carport would not make noise.
No. Actually, I've been painting inside because it's been so warm and hot.
Yeah.
Would that be an agreeable?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's our goal, is to make sure, see if everybody can be happy with it, so.
Right. Because it does set a precedent, and you don't want home business and everybody's, so easy and neat. And maybe if you're gonna have an event in your backyard, you might alert her that I'm gonna be having family and be good neighbors. Okay,
Mr. Faulkner, do you have any comments on this? Any more comments from the committee?
Well, I would think that, it sounds like you reached an agreement, but I think there has to be some contingencies in this whole thing.
yes,
You know, no sign, appointments only, compressor inside the garage. In the wintertime, I'm not
Inside
sure
the shed.
if you're working in the carport or not. So,
Yeah. We won't be, not in the cold, it's pottery, you cannot do that.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have to all be
Yeah.
inside in the wintertime.
okay.